Students, just now we have discussed about Akbar's military and revenue policy. Now we will discuss about Akbar's religious policy. In these terms, we can say Akbar was one of the most secular ruler among all the Mughal emperors. Akbar followed a policy of equal justice for all the religions, and in his court every person got equal respect and position. He never made any differences between any religions, or he never gave any preferences due to the religions also, because he gave equal chances based on talents. And to treat his subjects, he never differentiated between Hindu subjects or the Muslim subjects or for any other religions. He was one of the most secular ruler among all the Mughals. His policies were for the welfare of the common people, and his policies were quite modern in terms of his religious policies. We can say, due to his religious policies and equal justice policy, he is considered as the great ruler of all time in India. That is why, while we discuss about Akbar's religious policies, we need to focus on the measures what he took and which helped the common people. First of all, Akbar followed a liberal religious policy. I already told. He realized that to rule over a diverse population, a policy of religious tolerance is required. You can understand that from the beginning in India, we have many different group of people. We have many different types of religions. Everyone had or still have their own culture, own custom, own rituals. Akbar respected all the rituals, all the customs, and he gave proper respect to all. And he didn't allow the ulemas or the religious teachers or the religious lawmakers, Islamic religious teachers or the Islamic religious lawmakers to dictate state policies. That means he never allowed them to take any kind of decisions or state decisions or political decisions on behalf of him. He always took all those decisions by himself only, and that's why it was a proper equal justice system, we can say. And that is why he is considered as one of the most liberal ruler in terms of any kind of religious policies. What were his special reforms? Like, first of all, he abolished jizya, a tax paid by the non-Muslims, and the pilgrimage tax. That means Hindus and the non-Muslims, they paid a tax called jizya. He abolished that tax, and he didn't take any kind of pilgrimage tax from any religions. He gave his subjects freedom of worship. That means especially Hindus were allowed to worship any god or goddesses. He never had stopped anyone. Building of religious palaces, that means the religious temples were made. He also celebrated all the Hindu festivals, and it was the most important part of his daily life, that in the Mughal courts the Hindu festivals were also celebrated. He entered into the matrimonial relationship with the Rajput rulers. That's why he respected the Hindu culture also. He appointed many Hindus to important administrative positions. Already I said that he never made any kind of differences between the religions, or he gave everyone equal chances based on their talents. Akbar also gave land grants irrespective of their religious affiliations. That means to the Hindu Brahmins also he gave land grants, to the orthodox Muslim thinkers also he gave land grants. Akbar started a series of debates on many finer topic of religion in Ibadat Khana near Fatehpur Sikri. It was called prayer hall. Actually, Ibadat Khana means in that prayer hall or Ibadat Khana, he invited many religious thinkers, religious teachers, and they were invited by him to discuss on many religious matters. He tried to understand main points and the principles and the teachings of religions. It was the greatness of Akbar. In 1579, he issued Mahazarnama, which empowered the emperor to choose any of the religious interpretation of the Islamic law. That means he passed one law where he could accept any kind of laws which were appropriate for the state and for him. And that is why Akbar was so different in terms of religious matters. Not only this, Akbar introduced one policy or one idea he wanted to propagate after getting all the discussions and ideas from Ibadat Khana. He introduced the idea of Sul-e-Kul or the universal peace. Sul-e-Kul was secular in outlook and didn't discriminate between people of different religion. Again, I am saying, after the discussions in Ibadat Khana, he wanted to advocate a certain idea which is called Sul-e-Kul or universal peace. This idea was propagated by Akbar to promote peace among his subjects. He never made any kind of differences between any kind of religions or any kind of beliefs. And this idea of universal peace or Sul-e-Kul, it focused on honesty, justice and peace. We can say in certain terms it was a behavioral code. Akbar introduced a new religion called Din-e-Ilahi or divine faith. It was the ultimate point when Akbar realized that all religions led to a belief of a universal faith or divine faith, or every religion is talking about the ultimate goal of life to get the salvation. And based on that faith, Akbar introduced a new religion called Din-e-Ilahi or divine faith. He adopted the main features from all religions and founded a new religion. It was based on the idea of universal brotherhood and national unity. I just now told that this idea of Din-e-Ilahi, it was the combination of all the religions. It was the combination of all the teachings of different religious teachers, and it talked about universal brotherhood and national unity, because Akbar realized that all the teachings, mainly religious teachings and religious philosophies, and all the religions, they talk about the ultimate goal of life, which is salvation. And to get that ultimate goal of life, he believed on universal brotherhood and national unity. Akbar believed that the principles of Din-e-Ilahi could be acceptable to every religious community. Din-e-Ilahi was based on the principle of one God. I told that he understood or realized that at the end, every religion is talking about one God or universal God or the divine faith. That's why it was his main belief. It regarded the emperor as representative of God on the earth. He regarded himself as the representative of the God on earth, so that people should follow him, follow these principles of universal brotherhood. There were no scriptures or holy book, neither any priestly class or any rituals. He never promoted any rituals. He talked about certain ideas of universal peace, universal brotherhood, and national unity. That was enough for promoting his idea of Din-e-Ilahi or divine faith. He was very clear about his religious ideas, which ultimately resulted into the development of Din-e-Ilahi. It was like a moral code, I already said, or the behavioral code. Akbar never forced anyone to follow Din-e-Ilahi. You can understand how liberal he was. He was the emperor. He introduced one new religion, one new faith or belief, but he never forced anyone. He never written down any books on that religion. He never forced anyone to follow any rituals. He only talked about 2 or 3 moral guidance. One is that universal peace, to follow universal brotherhood and national unity. It was enough, and to believe in one God and respect other religions. These were the basic simple codes which were followed by Akbar, and he promoted Din-e-Ilahi based on these principles. So you can easily understand that after the death of Akbar, this religious belief or the faith also ended, but still you can understand, or still we can realize that the Akbar's approach about religion was totally different from the other emperors, and his religious faith was based on universal peace, universal brotherhood, national unity based on one God, to respect other religions, and which ultimately resulted into Din-e-Ilahi. And he himself talked about this Din-e-Ilahi among all the subjects, and that's why he presented himself as the representative of the God on earth.